So I had to take a break because my brain power was completely exhausted and drained.
Yeah, like I said, this is probably one of the most complicated uh, subjects to understand about him, but I think it is like really the key idea that like guides most of his later work, which yeah, we won't get into the details of how he explores it, but this is I think like a key thing to understand if you do investigate more.
Well, if you don't understand, don't feel bad about yourself. Don't.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
It took me. I mean, yeah, I still don't. I'm not an expert in Heidegger, by the way. This is just like a hobby of mine.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm far from trained as an expert. But yeah, I do like I have this. This is something that is still like very mysterious to me, and took me
Mm.
a while to even begin to understand what he was going on about.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I think so. I think like there are other ways to look at this idea of the ontological difference. So
Mm.
I yeah, you might think of this as like I drew here like what you might think of as like an Aristotelian ontology or like a fragment of it basically.
A fragment of
Aristotle Aristotelian ontology,
Oh,
like
I see.
from like Aristotle's
Mm.
a form of thought. Like he kind of yeah he was yeah he was like within his philosophy of like he wrote about like biology. He was sort of like almost like the first natural scientist. He like
Aristotle.
Aristotle,
Mm.
and like he wrote about these like he wrote about these like classifications of like biology and how they have
Mm.
like he thought he saw them as participating in these like highest categories, and like you can see like minerals and vegetables like this is like sort of biological
Mm.
hierarchy. Like you might think that like they all participate in matter, and these are like mathematical objects like continuous values and discrete values. They're all like quantities. This is just like one out of one classification I thought of that, and these are sort of like I think like highest categories that we couldn't think of them as participating in anything. Like the only thing they have in common is that they both participate in being, like they both are in some way.
Mm.
Um, so like the way we form science is sort of by classifying things, and we classify them as participating in some category. So that's what an ontology is, and we've yeah had that like that sort of guided our understanding of sciences even since Aristotle.
Mm.
But then, and yeah, the highest category, the one in which every other participates, is being. So, like, we all kind of know that. We think we know what we say when we mean being. And, like, like, we just think of it as, like, sort of like the most common category. It's like the most everyday thing. It's like, like, as Heidegger, I think, puts it, is like, it's like so common we don't even think it's like worth mentioning. It's like so commonly understood, but he's asking like how exactly do we understand that category,
Mm.
and like what do we mean by it, and like for him this like it's not like the most simple or the most like negligible part of philosophy. It's actually like the most mysterious idea. um and for him Western philosophy had always misunderstood it, and misunderstood being as some like higher entity, like something that like contains all others. Like it's almost like a deity, like the way God is like omnipresent. It's like different metaphysical systems see it as like the sum of all beings, like the highest being.
Mm.
um but for him like what's distinctive about it is that it's not just like any other entity that we can go out and discover through like theoretical activity. It's it's something that's the most mysterious, and it's something that's only realized within time, and it always eludes us as we try to think about it.
Any
So
being.
being, yeah.
Well, I think most people don't think about being.
Yeah, but I okay, yeah. So yeah, I mean a lot of people at this point kind of just give up and say like, this is like so mystical and like obscure that I don't know why you care about this. But like to come to his defense, like this did actually start as like an attempt to like reach some foundation for all of our systems of knowledge, because and I think he's right about this. Like all of our like regional, like these regional ontologies, as he calls them, like our scientific understanding of certain beings, like they all presuppose some more general understanding of like how being operates, which, and he thinks, like just like Husserl, he thinks if that's not fully clarified, then like we like won't really have like certain knowledge anymore. Like that will be like we'll just be like we'll just be like sort of connecting things in ways that don't really matter or don't really lead to contribute to further knowledge.
But
So
even I don't think all the scientists understand ontology or understand
no, they don't.
Heidegger, but we still had a lot of technological advancement.
Oh yeah, he thinks so. In his later philosophy, technology becomes sort of like another word for this forgetting of being.
No.
So yeah, he's. I mean, yeah. It becomes sort of like, I don't know, like whose side are you on at some point? And yeah, a lot of like there were like other philosophers of this period, like Carnap, who were like trying to also trying to find a foundation for science, but he he loathed what Heidegger was doing. He's just trying to do metaphysics again. And then Heidegger said like Carnap has metaphysical presuppositions he hasn't abandoned. And then since that moment, like those two sides of philosophy has like barely spoken to each other. It's been like an ugly dispute. But I really think like at the like if you go back to the root of where these thoughts emerged, they were concerned with almost the same project. But like yeah, Carnap did it by just like he just thought we had to clarify our like logical syntax and like talk about things more clearly, and that would be like a suitable foundation for science.
That's like linguistic.
Yeah, that's sort of like what analytic philosophy has to do with, and like yeah, some people like me read like Wittgenstein as working in that tradition and like undertaking a similar turn as Heidegger, where he realized that there was like something missing in our epistemology.
What is epistemology?
Epistemology, like our understanding of truth.
I see.
So, anyways, but and also to speak about the Thomism stuff, as I said, he was a Thomist. This is like one place where it helps to remember that, because Thomas Aquinas also spoke about like he was very Aristotelian, and he spoke about these like hierarchical ontologies, but for him like there was something sort of distinct about being, and that everything else we can speak about univocally. Like we can speak about like exactly when we make statements, like our statements apply to them exactly, but we can only speak about being like analogically.
What is analogical? Analysis
and
logical? Logical analysis?
No, like an analogy. You know what an analogy is? Like we can only speak about being in analogies, just like we can only speak about, and also like the nature of God is like for him this was like, for Aquinas this was all kind of held together by like the divine. But like we only have knowledge. We don't have direct knowledge of it. We only have knowledge through analogies.
You know, at this point, I think you should do a talk on why we need philosophy. I don't need to think of all of this just to drain my brain.
I mean, okay. I mean, yeah, I just find it enjoyable for itself because it's just like so out there, and
No, it's not out there.
I mean, but I think like he genuinely thought it was like a foundation for science. It's like it's so easy to dismiss him as just like someone who's like just a mystical, like religious thinker in the wrong period. He was in some ways, but like he was like I think he was like actually driven by some of the like ongoing problems in scientific foundation.
You mean Heidegger is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, but so yeah, like I think there is actually something to his thoughts, but yeah, it's like so obscure that and like it's totally neglected in most scientific or even like philosophy of science today.
But like, although not everyone understands him, we still seen a lot of breakthroughs in sciences.
Yeah, I'm not saying you need to understand him to like do science correctly.
Then how does it help with science?
I guess it helps you be clear about I don't know, you're less susceptible to Stephen Hawking's like
Stephen
vision
Hawking.
of like that like I don't know, this like material universe where we can make sense of everything.
Yeah, I think he's right.
Well, I find this vision more convincing than that.
I think there are more followers of Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, I'm fully aware. Anyways, again, I'll save the disputes for after the or for another talk. We can just argue. Okay. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I think you're like a spokesperson for like the Heidegger amateur, so I think this is good this way.
Okay. Amateur.
Amateur.
Amateur. Okay.
But yeah, you don't have to agree, but I think it's important to understand that there are at least alternatives. Okay.
Now there's a reason it's an alternative.
Yeah, it's not the mainstream for sure. And yeah, he was like a pretty grumpy person, so like sometimes I think, I don't know, maybe we just shouldn't deal with all this.
I feel like in the Western philosophers, they either like they don't have a happy life or they are grumpy, like leading a happy life and have a very peaceful mind is like the prerequisite of being an Eastern philosopher.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the point, right?
Yeah. Like the internal peace is very emphasized in Buddhism.
Yeah, well, that's why Heidegger thinks we've forgotten the fundamental questions of being.
Yeah.
We've lost touch to the like the way he puts in his later philosophy is that like Western philosophy has forgotten the like true calling to like thought. Yeah, he thinks like everything's understood technologically in terms of like advancing their scientific understanding. It just means advancing like technological reach. So yeah, he's in fact like I think I've told you before, like people often compare the later Heidegger to like Taoism. That's a very common comparison. As like and people think he like secretly read that and like was like saw in that like an alternative to the Western tradition.
He read Tao Te Ching.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, we can talk about more. Talk more about that.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna have more about being in time in the next lecture.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.